Hey guys, Ryan Dement from Chasing Financial Freedom podcast. Hope you guys are having a great day. Today on the podcast, we have Richard Walsh. Richard is the CEO of Sharpen the Spear Coaching, honing entrepreneurial warriors on the battlefield of business. I need more coffee this morning. Richard, welcome to the show.
Okay, thanks, Ryan. Great to be here.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for waiting. I know it was a little bit of a wait, but glad to have you on.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm always ready to go. So,
Cool.
just ring the bell and we'll get started.
So before we talk about what you're doing in the coaching space, can you give the listeners a little bit of who you are and your background?
You bet. So, been in business probably 35 years now. So, I got a little bit of time under my belt. Best-selling author. Again, in business over 35 years. I'm a U.S. Marine. I'm a champion boxer. I'm a black belt. I'm a internationally recognized steel sculptor, podcast host, husband, father of six. Yeah, there's a few things.
6. Wow.
Yeah.
That's,
Yes.
you got I'm guessing they're all grown up.
There, I got one who's 20. He's in the Marine Corps now. I
Nice.
have 2 19s, 2 18s, and a 17-year-old. So almost done. Almost finished.
First of all, thank you for your service. I
Yeah.
know some people say it, but my dad served in the army and I understand the sacrifices you make. So thank you.
You're welcome. My privilege. It was my privilege. Whoa.
How many years did you do in the Marine Corps?
4 years.
Okay. So I'm going to jump right in and go. What got you into the coaching space? What started this whole venture of 35 years?
Yeah, back in the day when I came out of the Marine Corps, I had to work, right? So I got a job swinging a pickaxe. So yes, you do have to work. Surprise. Some people take a little too much time off, but yeah, I got working for my $5 an hour swinging a pickaxe all day, digging trench for cable. And luckily for me, someone asked me to do a side gig. Says, "Hey man, can you move? I've got this pile of granite, like crushed granite, this down Tucson, Arizona. I need you to take it from the street to the backyard, spread it and all that. Use that instead of grass." I said, "I can do that. I work every day." So I spent my last 85 bucks before payday on a shovel and wheelbarrow. Showed up on Saturday, shoveled 35 tons of granite and brought it to the back in about 100 degrees, got that done. But the best part, Ryan, the guy came out, put 1,000 bucks in my hand for
Can't go
doing
wrong
that
with
gig.
that.
I did the same thing the day before for 50 bucks. I'm like, I know my
Wow.
future. That's when I learned my future was to work for myself. I'm going to get all the money and started that. So I started a landscape business that turned into a custom water feature business. So ponds, waterfalls, streams, did that, started incorporating custom steel sculpture. Now I'm one of the best in the nation. I'm doing internet world-class exhibits with my steel and stone and all that stuff. And that was going great for about 20 years. And then 08, 09 hit. Let's say the economy constricted, right?
Mhm.
no, no one had to have a water feature. Okay. No one, it wasn't a must have. They wanted like food and maybe a home would be nice. So that really hurt my business. I really hurt my business, but that just was the final nail that really took me out. So I lost my business, my home. We had to relocate, sold everything. I decided I just didn't want to be, I wasn't going to do that anymore. So I had done this for 20 years and the best what I did, I was always chasing the next thing, the next award, the next committee I was on. I was doing all this great stuff. I thought being out front, not paying attention to my business, being the star and not
Mhm.
doing that. That's what really caused the collapse. But at the same time, Ryan, I woke up one morning with this epiphany that I've got these 6 little kids now, 4 years and younger, and they just love to see me. When I come home at night, they love me, and when I leave one day, my 4-year-old was chasing my truck out the driveway crying because 'cause I'm leaving, and I'm thinking, "Man, what am I doing?" I said, "If I stay on this path of business first, that's everything." I said, "My kids are gonna see that," and I really truly believe more is caught than taught when it comes to kids. I said, "They're gonna have broken marriages, failed relationships, right? They might be good at business, but in general, like, I'm gonna ruin their futures." So I literally got up, I went in the office, shut the whole operation down. Now we were going to
Wow.
collapse in the next 3 to 6 months anyways, and maybe I could have saved. I did a bunch of things trying that weren't working, but I'm like, I'm not going to do that to my kids. So I didn't know what I was going to do, but I just shut it down. Went to my yard, told all my guys, my construction guys, "Hey, we're not doing this anymore. We're going to wrap it up this week." And they've been with me over 10 years themselves. We're like family. So it was a tough decision, but I really had to make that move. So that's what kind of launched me forward to start over. I had to start over because I had nothing. Started working out. I was a big workout guy, started training at Anytime Fitness. I built a personal trainer program there. Next, I'm trainer of the year at that place. So I'm like, oh, so I'm an entrepreneur. So that means I got to go open a gym. So I went and opened my own boot camp style training, had a gym, grew that, got into a construction business after that, scaled that. It was really great. But I did it right this time. Like I did it right, where I had others doing the work instead of me doing everything. Change that. So I get good at that, right? So I'm doing these businesses, and this is where it comes into people start asking me, how'd you do that? How'd you go from being way up all the way rock bottom, lose everything, and now you're back up on top again? So I started helping people in the mentor position, just showing guys what to do. And of course, again, back to the entrepreneurial mindset. Mentors are free, coaches get paid.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm like, I think I need to be a coach. So I wrote a book. I wrote a best-selling book called Escape the Owner Prison. It's the contract's new way to scale, regain control, and fast-track growth while loving life. So that came out, became a bestseller. I built an academy around that, started coaching people, and went through a couple iterations. And now we're here at Sharpen the Spirit Coaching, and I love it. And that's how we got to where we're at.
Wow, there's a lot in there to unpack, so you've got me odd. Those are great it's a great story to hear that you went from the top to the bottom and all the way back up to the top again. Before we get into I've got a ton of questions, but before we get into that, I got just got one. If anybody decided to continue to listen after by this point and they're like, "Yeah, I'm done. I don't wanna listen to this episode." What would you leave them off with 3 nuggets if they were gonna jump off and say, "I don't wanna listen to this anymore." What would you share with them right now?
First thing is whatever you're doing, ask for help. Okay.
Love
Get
it.
help. I didn't get any help for 20 years. Get help. Okay. Second thing, create an exit strategy. If you want to know what that really means, you probably should stay on the episode, but you can go if you have to go. All right. Third thing I'm going to say, learn what your 5% is. Your 5% is the 5% of the business only you can do, because that's all you should be focused on if you're truly running a good business.
And being a entrepreneur myself, I can relate to all of those and the struggles with those and so forth. I would say when I got into this 10, 12 years ago, full time, because podcasting is a passion, side hustle, day job is we're an affordable housing developer, workforce housing, whatever you want to call, and a lender. I didn't know what I was getting into in the space and how competitively or how competitive the space is and how much it's dominated by nonprofits. I'm a for profit and had no clue I was getting into. And if you would have asked me back then if I should have started a nonprofit with my for profit, I would have said, hell no. Asked me 2 years ago, I would have said, hell yeah. And now we've got a nonprofit that I can compete on some of these gigs with. Now that I'm not having to worry about the additional expense, not expenses, but the bottom line when it comes to capital, because the capital is raised from public funds, which I don't have an ROI on other than to build. So it was a total game changer, but it took almost 7, 8 years for me to realize that.
Yeah, we get stuck
Painful.
in our we get stuck in our lanes. I was the same thing. I mean, doing I'm the best at what I do. I wasn't listening to anybody. And I had a billionaire client trying to give me advice. What does he know about building water features? So
Wow.
the guy's got manufacturing plants, he owns professional sports teams, and he's just likes me. And and that's how thick I was. But that's the jarhead in me. I mean, it's just I'll do it all myself. It took twice as long, it's twice as hard. I made it, right? Then I didn't make it. And if I
Mhm.
would listen to them, I'd probably still be doing this stuff. Or someone else would be doing this stuff and I'd be reaping the rewards. So yeah, I totally get it, man. Sometimes we got such blinders on in our business. And that's why when I say ask for help, you need the outside eyes, because you can come into someone now in the for profit space, the same thing, and give them 10 things like in
Yeah.
10 minutes. Right. And they'll go, what? What are you talking about? He goes, yeah, you keep doing this, what's going to happen? This is going to happen. This is going to happen. And then you're going to be broke. And then
Yeah.
that's what I do. We can see things because we're not emotionally attached,
Oh,
and we've been there.
keep on. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I just mean that we've been there, right?
Yeah.
That's how we compress time, because we've got the experience and we bring that to the table.
The I know I had this mindset and I've grown out of it, but it was a real big struggle in the beginning was if I was going to get as you say, a mentor or a coach, we'll talk coach, cost money. If you're starting up and you're a solopreneur or whatever, and you don't have that additional capital, how do we work through that as entrepreneurs? Because I'm sure there's plenty listening saying, I'm a solopreneur and or it's a side hustle and I don't have the extra capital. I know I've got my answer, but I'd love to hear yours.
Yeah. So, remember, I've been doing this 35 years. There were no coaches back then. There was no internet.
Yeah.
Okay. So we weren't just, so to say you don't have a way today is inexcusable. You can get online startup courses. You can go into accelerators. There's a million things you can do from a startup standpoint as a solopreneur. So there's really no excuse except research, right? Do a little research. You can find a lot of free ways to at least, and listen to podcasts like this,
Mhm.
get into the stuff. You need to educate yourself and apply things, but you can't listen just about the fairy tales. Okay. You got to have real world stuff, right? Stuff that you can actually apply to your business at the different levels in your business. So there's a lot of application that needs to be done. And and if you look, you're going to find different coaches at different levels, right? There's no one coach for everybody. So you can find coaches who deal specifically with the startup realm, right? You find them because they understand where you're at, they understand the cost, and they develop group programs and things like that. So you can actually be a part of it and continue to learn very inexpensively. I do a startup program. It's all automated video, educate the whole thing. It's $100 a month and it'll give you everything you need to know from start all the way through the first couple of years. So and that's $100 a month. And I'm just going to say, if you can't afford $100 a month, maybe keep your main gig.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I mean? Like stop the side hustle. Because you gotta have some priorities and shift a little something, but you'll be okay. You can do it.
In the 35 years you've been doing this, what would you say the biggest mistake entrepreneurs have made while they've been working with you?
I think I 2 things. 1, I think they don't have an exit strategy. That's probably the biggest mistake. And I want them to have it before they launch their business.
Okay.
And no one thinks that way. Okay, nobody does. They don't understand what it is. They think an exit strategy is just how much I'm gonna get for my business. Like, they think that's their strategy. Like, they don't put time to it or anything else, right? There's way more to it. We don't have time today to go through, but I could walk through all the points. It does become your greatest business filter if you do it right. You can run all your decisions through that exit strategy and keep you on track of the main thing and get out in 5 years, 10 years, whatever you set with the money you truly want. You build a business that someone truly wants to buy so you can get that number. You can build passive income, right, through allocating assets. You can
Mhm.
do a lot of things because you've planned for the exit and still build your business. You don't get distracted by shiny objects, stuff like that, because it all has to run through the exit strategy. If it gets you closer or faster to it, it's a go. If it detracts from it, it's a hard no.
Mhm.
So that's one of the biggest mistakes, right? That's one of the biggest mistakes right there, I think, when people are doing that. The other thing is not having the true vision of their business. I'm talking about who, how, and why they serve their customers. Truly knowing what that means and what it all looks like inside your company. They don't build that kind of stuff out. What they're going to build in the next 18 to 24 months at a time. They don't have time for vision because I get it. They're all trying to make sales and make some income and keep things going and move the ball forward. But without that foundational vision, they have nothing to build on. So you're building a house on the proverbial sand, right? And the first thing that comes along that to knock it down, it'll knock it down.
So how would an entrepreneur balance that? Because that's a struggle. That's a real struggle. I struggled with it too. And then you're out there, you're beating the pavement to make sure that you're, bringing the money in.
Mhm.
But also at the same time, there's got to be a give and take also.
Yeah. It's that lure of more hours, more hustle and grind,
Hmm.
okay, which is not a good culture to be in. You're not going to succeed by that. You're going to destroy yourself. You're going to destroy your family and everything else.
Yeah.
So it's not work more. Okay. You always hear work smarter, not harder, and all those, they're cool cliches and everything else, but you do have to put a plan. You have to be very productive with your time, not busy. I use the rocking horse as the thing, right? You don't want to confuse motion and progress. A rocking horse stays in motion, doesn't make any progress. You don't want to be a motion guy. You want to be a progress person. And then you have to be very deliberate in that. And the problem when you're hustling so hard, and I get it, I call it ignorance on fire. You're just going, right? You're just going because you got to make this, you got to make payroll, you got to do this, got to do that. But you also have to block out that time to take that vision time. When you're going to actually go up to 10,000 feet to look at your business. You can do it monthly, you can do it quarterly. What are you going to do? I prefer every couple of weeks for looking at that. But people have to be able to come back to that so they understand you're the captain of the ship. You got to know where you're going. I don't have that plan. How do I know where I'm going?
Yeah. And it's For a good substantial time, I struggled with time blocking, and I don't know if you're a fan or not, but I use my mornings for the first 2 to 3 hours is just quiet to where I'm time blocked. I'm not taking phone calls, I'm not taking text messages, and I'm just focusing on items that are I call income producing for the business.
Mhm,
And I know that I don't know if it's the 5% like you referred to. I think it's in my top 10% because
mhm.
there are some things that I shouldn't be doing, but there is some training that I have to still do with this individual that I need to step up my game on. So that's one thing that's lacking. But until I started doing time blocking and being able to focus, I truly was just working in the business and not actually focusing on that 10,000-foot view because it's a struggle every single day to keep your head above water.
Yeah, it's, tactical versus the strategic,
Mhm,
right? Tactical is the fire right now, a problem, someone comes in your office with a problem, and you gotta go put it out. The problem is that thing flares up again in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, because you never built a system that solves it from coming up in the first place. So we call them anchor activities. So you actually have non-negotiable time block, like you're talking about.
mhm.
Like that might be 7 to 7:30 every morning, 30 minutes. And that's the time you spend looking at whatever, or you're being creative during that time or whatever it is. So I'm a fan of that. You really have to find what works for you the best, but you have to create non-negotiables. If we're gonna have this meeting, we're gonna do it every Thursday at 10 o'clock. It's every Thursday at 10 o'clock, no exceptions. Not because the tactical thing comes, oh, I can't do it because this guy needs me. No one needs you that bad. Okay, that an hour of your day can be taken. Like, and if it is, you really got problems. So let's fix that.
Yeah, it's that FOMO, and I still struggle with it sometimes to where I see a phone call and I'm doing something else or I should be focused. I just I have to tune it out because of the fear of missing out. They can leave me a message. I can call them
Mhm.
back, whatever the case is, but the struggle with if you don't answer the phone or you don't respond to that text message is problematic because it distracts you from those critical tasks that you should be focused on during that time. And if anybody takes anything away from this, I couldn't fathom blocking out my calendar for the longest time. And now I do. And if I don't have it on there, I feel like I'm lost and I'm wasting time. So I book it out 4 to 6 weeks in advance just to make sure that's there. It doesn't matter what's going on, it's on there.
Yeah, here's the thing. If you want to think about everybody, you should have no unaccounted for time.
Yeah, that's true.
If it's unaccounted, and that goes for everyone who works for you. They don't have an empty space. That's not catch up time. That's look at my phone time. That's what that's play around being a
On the
one-handed worker.
on social media, yes.
So another thing, a quick study, just the dinging of a text. If you're in
Yep.
deep work and you're focused working, it'll just a ding. I'm not talking about reading the message. Just hearing that tone. It'll take you 20 minutes to get back into that deep work to where you were just by
Wow.
hearing it. Okay. So I'm telling you, put that sucker on silent to begin with, turn it over and put it away from you so you don't see it coming up or anything else. If it's that hour where you need to do that deep work, you might be writing. Maybe, hey, maybe you got to write 500 words a day. You're working on a new book. All that's got to be off. You get one ding when you're in the throw of writing, you're done. It's ruined. And then next thing you're gonna be at 75 words and you're gonna be finished. So we have to understand their tools or toys, right? The phone can be a tool or a toy. I
Yep.
treat it like a tool. My kids ask me, Dad, you don't have any games on your phone. I go, because Daddy don't play games. I just don't do it.
Neither
Like,
do I.
I don't do ever. I played 20 minutes of video games with my kids in 20 years. 20 minutes. They killed me like 37 times. I go, okay, everybody happy? You killed me 37 times. I'm done. I'm out now. Never playing again. Okay. I'm gonna go make money.
Would you say that focus time or that deep work time is a major contributor to businesses not entrepreneurs failing?
Yes, absolutely. Because they're looking for that rocking horse. They're looking for that busy distraction
Mhm.
from doing the hard work. And I don't mean hard work like I gotta go work a shovel. Focused on my business. Where is this going? Where is the next thing coming from? Where is this thing actually going? What marketing am I actually doing? What numbers am I looking at? What am I spending time on? Things that move the business needle in the right direction. So we're too easily distracted today with all the stuff, with everything around us. And when you wanna just I don't have the word to If you really want to do something and be unique, because you're already in a unique category as an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
you're in a very small percentage. You want to go to the top of that, do the stuff we were just talking about. Put that phone away. Make it a policy so anyone who works with you or does work with you knows you, understands you don't answer a text immediately. You
Mhm.
will get back to them and you don't answer an email. You start to understand, listen, man, I'm doing big things. You know what you do when you do big things? You don't answer people's texts. Okay. And just don't take it personal. NPIB, baby, nothing personal in business. But here's the deal. This is how I have to operate. You can think I'm doing great and being successful. That's because I don't answer my friends' texts. Okay. Till near the end of the day or whatever, lunchtime. It's discipline, right? That's what it really comes down to.
And it's discipline and being consistent, and that was one of the things when I first started doing it was the discipline was decent, but the consistency was crappy. And until I blocked it out on my calendar and I started pushing back on people, like I would have 2 or 3 people consistently call me during that time frame, and I just had to flat out tell them, "I'm not taking phone calls, I'm not taking text messages. I'm focused on getting the business move forward."
Yeah. Or in easier terms, I'm focused on feeding my family, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, or that
Just
too.
don't it's just
Yeah,
but I call it D3, right? So you got discipline, diligence, and determination,
yeah.
the 3 Ds. Those you put those 3 together, you're unstoppable.
I guess the other thing that I was gonna say, and it boils down to and you talked about it, the phone as a toy. And we seem to think social media, if we put out a video, if it doesn't go viral, we give up. And it's I was talking to a I'm 50, so I guess I'm old. I was talking to a kid that was in his mid-20s, probably 27, 28, and he's wondering, "Look at the results you're getting on social media and stuff." And I said, "Yeah, it's also taken almost 9 years." So hurry up and wait. I don't know how you want to describe it, but it's been very consistent and being very open about what my journeys look like. And then also posting, talking to people, connecting. I said, if you could take that mentality and apply it to a business, you'll be very successful. By all means, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think where the game is won is being knocked down and getting back up every single time that you get knocked in the head, but you learn from that lesson. And if you continue to learn, you're going to develop better skill sets to be able to get you over the top. It's just I don't know I don't know how to describe that other than being knocked down has probably been the best thing for me because it allowed me to learn from all my not just mistakes, but also situations that I've never been in.
Yeah, it's I always tell people, winning everyone can win. Anyone can win. Can
Yeah.
you lose and come back and play the next day? That's where
Yeah.
the champions
I
are.
like
They
that.
lose and they come back the next day and play. Okay. When you talk to these younger people, the big issue and one of the best comments I ever heard was they all want to be discovered and not developed.
Mm,
Okay. They all want to be an influencer, but you don't, like you just said it, 9 years
yeah.
of consistent social media. Okay. That's not being discovered. Okay.
No.
That's your
I'm far
typical
from it.
overnight, right? But that's your typical overnight success takes only 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay. All these people who think these people just made it, go get the real story. And you see how long they trained, practiced, failed, everything else. And now it all looks easy because you put all the time in. Just like when I coach people, I can see it all. I can say it all. It's great because I have 35 years. I have total failure. I have
Mhm.
all this stuff I've gone through. Like you said, those scars. That's another reason, Ryan, why it's hard to work with startups. They can't value what you bring. They don't have the scars yet.
Yeah.
They haven't been punched in the face. They haven't lost money. They haven't made really bad decisions and still try to overcome it. When you get to that place, oh, you want us. Okay. You want us to compress 10 years into one. That'd be a good thing because you start to realize, like, wow, this could be really difficult. If only I knew someone who could help me. So that's where it comes.
Wow. We could talk about this forever. We're coming to the end of this. But before we get to the end, couple things. Are you bringing on new clients or working with new clients?
Absolutely.
And the best place to connect with you to do that.
Sh- Sharpen the spear coaching.com.
And then for the entrepreneurs that say they can't afford coaching, can you explain your I think it was the $100 program, whatever it was
Mhm.
called?
Mhm. Yeah, it's a startup program. So it's all automated, fully automated accountability, everything else. It's $100. Just reach out to me at sharpenthespiritcoaching.com. I'll dial you into that. It's a great place to start. It'll give you such a leg up. It'll give you an exponential increase in probability of your success. That was a mouthful.
And when you say startup, can it be for any entrepreneur?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Because when you say startup, I'm immediately thinking, okay, someone's getting off the ground. I know some entrepreneurs that could probably use your system. So I'm definitely going to
Mhm.
connect with them and see what they say. I might go looking at it. I'm always wanting to learn. So, and get better.
Yeah, Ryan, sometimes we need to take a couple steps back. Remember when the free throw in basketball, do
Hmm.
they ever stop practicing the free
Nope.
throw? Okay.
No.
It's the same thing. Keep the fundamentals, go back to them, look at them. Do I still have them? Have I veered away from the fundamentals? Is that why things are wonky now? In the beginning, you want to build that foundation because
And you've
that's
got
the
to,
whole business.
and you've got to keep it there. And you also have to I started to read a book. I know we're wrapping up, but I think it's called 12 Weeks. I just got it. I can't remember
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And basically, for 12 weeks, you're running your business and that's your annual results. And then every 12 weeks, you're just
Mhm.
resetting it. I'm only through the first chapter and
Yep.
already I'm drawn in. I'm like, that's interesting. How am I going to be able to apply this? I don't know yet. I'm going to try, but setting goals for the year and then reevaluating them quarterly or monthly or sorry, quarterly or semi-annually seems to be a little too far out in the future. I like the 12 weeks and you're reevaluating every 1 to 2 weeks to know exactly where you're standing.
30, 60, 90-day goals. That's all
Yep.
you should be doing. You can have your little dream of 5 years from now, but so much is going to change. It won't even be, it'll be off the table in a year. You'll have to alter it. So just focus on 30, 60, 90-day goals. If your people focus that way, everyone starts achieving that way, you're getting wins all the time. And you're really seeing the business move forward. It's really critical.
That is great. Sir, thank you for coming on. I love what you're doing. I love the passion. Guys, if you're listening and you want help, please reach out because if you're doing this by yourself, you're just setting yourself up for failure. It doesn't work. You got to surround yourself with people that can do 95% of the work and you get to do 5% that you're very good at or 10% in my case. But if you're just doing it by yourself, how are you supposed to grow? You got to get help. You got to get people that are in your corner that are going to take care of you, but also set you straight and be honest with you. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Just remember this. I'll leave you this last thing. Remember, people often drive their scorekeeper is gross revenue, make more. Remember this saying, take this home. Gross revenue feeds the ego, profit feeds the family. Focus on profit. Don't get enamored by the gross revenue. It doesn't mean anything. Okay. It just means you're spending a lot of money and you're probably leaving a lot on the table. So just remember that. It's really important to understand profit's what matters, not gross revenue.
at the end of the day, you want to be able to eat and put a roof over your head.
Mhm.
Sir, thank you. Sir, thank you for coming on. Love what you're doing, and we'll be chatting.
Thanks, Ryan. It's been great.
Have a good day.